Hey YouTube! Today we're gonna do something a bit different. A cleaning guide for your desktop PC. I'm using this unit I got recently for free-ish, and it was the ideal candidate for this video because its condition was sad, to say the least. It had a lot of dirt, dust, leftover food, who knows how it got inside the case, and the machine itself was home to what I believe was a lovely family of spiders, all now deceased. May they rest in peace. Before our cleaning starts, we have to go over the tools I particularly use to get the PC close to brand new. Taking a look at them here, I usually use both a screen cleaning solution and 99% isopropyl alcohol, and I use each one depending on the component. For anything involving delicate circuits, I like to use the 99% isopropyl alcohol, just because it evaporates pretty fast, and is also non-conductive. Since the 99% isopropyl alcohol is very strong, I usually use the screen cleaning solution for plastic and metal parts, like the case and the fence, besides the monitor of course. To apply those, you can definitely use Q-tips and paper towels, but always remember to use a microfiber cloth afterwards to remove any leftover particles from the components. Another important tool here is the air duster. These ones you can find on dollar stores, and these are mostly fine if you're working on your case or fence, but I recommend investing in a proper air blower since they use a motor instead of compressed air chemicals that can potentially damage circuits. You can find links to all the tools used here in the video description. Alright, so the first step I'll be doing is using the vacuum cleaner to clear the way for us to take the PC apart. Do try to find the manuals online for the motherboard to know which are the connections and where the wiring go, but in case you have a hard time finding those, taking pictures of the PC with the case open is a good rule of thumb to have a visual reference. And with that step done, we can start removing the components. Starting with the RAMs, let's see what we're working with. I already knew we were dealing with DDR3, since it's an H87 chipset, but it does seem like we have sticks from different sets mixed up here. Not a big deal, we can check later if they have the same specs. Now let's remove the cooler. These OEM Intel coolers are very finicky and fragile. Make sure you properly detach the plastic hooks before pulling the cooler out of the PC. Carefully rotate the cooler and pull it gently. Lot of thermal paste here, but we'll clean this in a minute. Now removing the CPU here is easy. Pull the lever down, a bit to the side and lift it gently. The latch will come up with it and you can safely remove the CPU from the socket. Grab it by the edges, be mindful of the thermal paste, and avoid touching the connections on the bottom. I'm putting my money on an i5 4570, but let's see what we got. You can clean the thermal paste with some isopropyl alcohol and paper towel. Use the Q-tips with alcohol if you need a bit more accuracy, and also clean up a little bit of these crevices. After the cleanup, we can see I bet on the wrong horse here, and we got a nice surprise, an i7 4770. Not the best i7 on the 1150 platform, but better than the i5 I was expecting. Now it's time to clean this motherboard. Unscrew it from the case and gently pull it up. With the motherboard off the case, you can use a bit of the air duster, but I do like to gently brush the board with a brush like this. You can find these in any dollar store, but as usual, make sure you use them carefully so you don't damage the circuits. We just want to remove the excess dirt and dust here. Now we just need to remove the power supply. Unscrew it from the case and just pull it out. You can use the brushes, the screen cleaner solution, and the air duster to do the job. For the case itself, we can brush the excess dirt and dust from it and use the screen cleaning solution on a paper towel or microfiber cloth to clean it up. Now that we got our PC cleaned, it's time to get it assembled again. Really up to you, but you can add the CPU before placing the motherboard back in. Make sure you align the CPU properly inside the socket and secure it in place. take the motherboard and align it with the case screw holes. We didn't have the I/O shield here, but this would be the time to place it along with the motherboard. With it secured inside the case, add the thermal paste so we can install the cooler. Now, align the plastic connectors of the cooler to the proper holes, and push them down one by one. I would recommend a different cooler here, but this is what we got. Now, let's grab the RAM, align with the slots, and gently push them inside. After you hear the click, you'll know they are properly installed. Putting back the power supply, align with the holes, and install the screws. Before we move forward by adding the cables back in the motherboard, let's add a GPU. I'm gonna go with the GTX 750 Ti with 2GB of GDDR5 memory. Not the best GPU, I know, but it didn't cost me anything to get it, so why not? Of course, we have to add some storage now. If you wanted to make this PC fully free, I did have some mechanical hard drives laying around, but we needed an SSD for the main boot drive. That's why I got this 256GB Micron SSD for $20, besides needing this bay adapter which I got for $3. All things considered, not too bad. With all said and done, we just have to reconnect all the cables back in place and make sure to follow all the instructions on your motherboard manual, if you have it. And that's pretty much it. Now we have our PC ready to go, and our quality assurance supervisor is reviewing the work. Hopefully it will pass with flying colors. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this, please like and subscribe. And you wanna see this thing working, don't you? Well, yes, it works just fine. I went ahead with Linux Mint and this PC is running like a charm. I even put it through some stress testing and it's fully operational. In general, this unit will perform great on daily tasks. Same thing with video streaming. Putting it through some YouTube testing, you can see there are a few drop frames when playing at 4K, but honestly, I couldn't even tell if the stats weren't there. For creative work, I installed Blender to see how it would perform. No issues at all. The i7-4770 and the GTX 750 Ti are a decent match, and they will perform just fine if your aim is to do light work, such as graphic design, animation, modeling, and some light 1080p video editing. For a sub-$30 machine, this is great. Let's jump ahead to the good stuff now. Starting off with some 2D games, they will perform great at 1080p. A game like Cuphead will run butter smooth, no problem at all at Full HD. Also trying Shredder's Revenge, running just fine at 1080p, looking great. And now some Streets of Rage 4, looking awesome. Also put in a little bit of Hades at 1080p, showing that you're gonna have a great time playing games like this. For older 3D titles, let's try our old faithful Bioshock Infinite. Just to showcase that games this age will run great at this machine. At 1080p low, you can try locking the frame rate, but it won't be a stable 60. If you need to hit that 60 FPS, I would recommend going 900p medium with this setup. Okay, let's jump to something a bit newer. Injustice 2, 900p low, averaging around 52 to 55 FPS. But if you really need to get to that 60 mark, I recommend dropping it down to 720p medium. Now let's go with Shadow of the Tomb Raider. At 1080p low, couldn't quite get a stable 60 FPS, although it would hover very close to 55. If you're okay locking it to 30 FPS, my recommendation is going 900p medium presets. Now let's try Doom Eternal. Even at 720p low preset, we couldn't keep it at 60 FPS, even dipping into the mid-30s when you have lots of enemies and particles on screen. We're definitely being bottlenecked by the 2GB VRAM here, but it's still quite playable, and for what we got this PC for, I would say it's a great experience. And lastly, I knew this one wasn't gonna be playable, but just to showcase how modern gaming won't be doable here. Cyberpunk at 720p low preset. We are averaging less than 11 FPS on the benchmark, hardly passing 16 on the best case scenario. But if modern PC gaming isn't the strongest suit for this PC, it does great with emulation. For starters, Nintendo 64 does quite well here. You'll have no issues upscaling these games to 1080p. Moving over to PPSSPP, we got Chain of Olympus upscaled at 1080p. With this setup, you can easily go to 1440p with this game, and lots of other titles on this emulator will be playable at 4K. Now, playing a little bit of Dolphin, no issues at all during the testing, and even on F0, the emulator just stuttered a couple of times at the start, certainly because of shader caching. For the rest of the track, smooth sailing, besides my poor skills on this game, of course. And to wrap up, PlayStation 2 also great. I would say you can upscale to 1080p on pretty much any game you wish to play. Tested God of War 2 on this PC and had no issues playing it. And I have a feeling you could even do some native PlayStation 3 emulation with easier to run games, but unfortunately I didn't have time to properly test that. I really wasn't sure if this PC was going to work at all, but I'm really happy that this machine was brought back to life. It just needed some love and a couple of upgrades. For roughly $25 Canadian, including the upgrades, this was definitely a decent find on this current market. It won't break any benchmark records, and it would definitely benefit from a few more upgrades, like a Wi-Fi card. But I'm sure it still have some years left on it, and it will be of great service for someone out there. I really hope you all enjoyed this video. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on the notifications button if you want to see more content like this. It would be much appreciated and help this channel grow. Leave a thumbs up if you found this video awesome, or a thumbs down if it wasn't that great. Let us know your thoughts on the comment, and we'll see you on the next one. Cheers!